Lots of generations of families lived in here, new families moved in. Probably the most famous person to have been here, Bonnie Prince Charlie. Mrs. Mitchell, are you there? People often see stuff, things have been photographed down here, children, young children. Is there somebody down here? Hello?
It's a part of the world that has history etched all over it. Bannockburn House takes its name from the small settlement just south of Stirling in Scotland. Stirling, as well as being known as the gateway to the Highlands, itself is very historic. It was once the capital of Scotland, and its castle being the home of royalty, coronations and tragedy. The name is most famous with the battle that bloodied the fields around here in 1314 between the English and the Scots. Nobody knows the exact spot, but most historians agree that the one where the visitor centre now stands is not it. It was said that the bodies of the 11,000 dead English soldiers piled high, and a nearby stream that runs through the burn here by the house turned red. The battle site was huge and very lightly covered where we are now. This part of the world was used to it. Merely 2 decades before, 5,000 died up the road at Stirling Bridge. I wonder how haunted the houses built on top of that battle site are. In fact, this site sits on an old ancient road, meaning everyone that ever came to battle up here had to pass through here at some point. Bannockburn House was built in 1675 on the site of the old Drummond's Hall by Sir Hugh Patterson, whose son and grandson would later become baronets of the house. He was a lawyer and a businessman with royal connections. Other than some Victorian modifications, the house has not really been altered much since then. The Patterson family were known to be big supporters of the Jacobite Rising. Sir Hugh was forced into exile and had to flee abroad. His wife remained here, and Sir Hugh was eventually pardoned and allowed to return several years later. The house was built for the wealthy, and it needed to be because royalty stayed here. Charles Edward Stuart, aka Bonnie Prince Charlie, stayed here in January 1746. He'd briefly visited a few months prior and used this as his headquarters during the siege of Stirling and the Battle of Falkirk. More bloodshed in this area. The prince would fall ill while staying here, and Sir Hugh's niece, Clementina Walkinshaw, nursed him back to full health so that he can make the journey up to Culloden. Clementina gave birth to a child called Charlotte, the Duchess of Albany, who was presumably Prince's. And it seems that Charlie did a lot more than just rest in this room. An assassination attempt was made on Bonnie Prince Charlie's life here when someone tried to climb a drain pipe to get inside to kill him. A bullet went through the wall and into his bedroom, but he was not around at the time. A mill owner that made tartan, Alexander Wilson, lived here until his death inside the house in 1906. It remained empty for 4 more years when James Mitchell moved in, a rich banker. Tragedy struck the family though, as his son James died due to injuries sustained whilst fighting in World War I. His bedroom was the original room that Prince Charlie had. James had a baby son who died in infancy, and another son of his, called David, died here of natural causes in 1921. James Sr. would die in 1923, and 5 years later his wife, whom lived alone here, would also die in the house. Their only surviving child, Annie, inherited the house, and she lived here until 1960. It is Annie that is still said to haunt the library of the house, often seen from the outside, looking out of her favourite window at the gardens. She's also been seen all around the house. And the ghosts that are said to haunt this place are said to be oblivious to the passing of time and oblivious to people. It is said every room in the house has experienced some form of paranormal activity. The house was lived in until 2017, and the last residents talked about always seeing figures watching them from the end of corridors and being able to see people in the windows whilst they were outside in the gardens. Soldiers are reportedly seen in the trees around Bannockburn. You can take a guess which battle they could be from. Children are known to run in the hallway upstairs and in one of the top floor rooms. The basement and lower floors are said to have a negative entity roaming around them. These were originally some of the servants' quarters. Before we get into the investigation, please like and subscribe to the Dead Air channel because we've got lots of videos on there, lots of content. And also, if you're on Spotify, please like the Dead Air Clinically Dead podcast, which is free to listen to and is going to have fortnightly stories and updates from some of our paranormal investigations. My night is going to start off in the library on the east side of Bannockburn House. It's this where Annie Mitchell is said to be seen gazing out of the window.
So I'm in the library here at Bannockburn House. It's quite a windy evening, even though it's summer. It's been raining all day, so you might hear a little bit of wind just there, blowing on the side of the house as it picks up a little bit there. You might hear little bangs, little knocks coming from that. Of course, if it is the wind, if I do think it's the wind, I'll just say it's the wind. If it's something that I don't think, because obviously I can hear what's coming from inside the house, it might be easier for me to be able to distinguish what's inside the house, what's outside the house. I'll be honest about that. So I'm going to try a little call out session first. We're in the library room here in Bannockburn House. If there's anybody in this room that would like to communicate with me, can you do a small tap or knock? It's supposed to be quite common that staff say that sometimes you can hear things coming from the room that's directly above. I might go up there a little bit later on and have a look if we do hear any noises. Can we hear your footsteps if you're around? You're still in this building? You're still in the house? An old fireplace. It's not really coming out on night vision, but lots of old pictures on the walls as well. Remember, this house has been lived in for hundreds of years. Lots of generations of families lived in here, new families moved in. And of course, probably the most famous person to have been here was Prince Charlie. I thought that was an orb going across the screen, but it's just the way the lights reflect in there. I'm going to make a little knock on the table. If you can copy it. I've got a REM pod down here on the floor. The window that's behind these shutters has got stories as well. People have seen the apparition of a lady looking out from this window, so it would make sense to have something down there that we can maybe pick up on any activity. Mrs. Mitchell, are you still around in Bannockburn House? If you go beside this black device I've placed on the floor, you probably won't know what this is. This is something that maybe looks very strange to you from your time, but it's a way that we can communicate with each other. I'm just going to demonstrate how this works. So if you go down and you touch it, or you go close to it, if you go close to it, it makes an alarm. If you touch it, it lights up. If you can do that for me, then we can definitely feel that you're around, that you're present. Maybe you don't want me to watch when you do it. But if you can put your energy through that, that would be amazing. I know this was your favourite room. You used to love sitting in here, maybe reading. That was my left foot on the floorboard. Maybe reading books in here, looking out over the scenery. This was a place that you felt was your home. Maybe it still is your home. And I hope that I'm welcome to come in here tonight and talk to you. Of course, if I'm not welcome, please don't be afraid to let me know. I've got other ways that you can communicate tonight. Maybe it's very difficult for you to perform. We're not expecting you to do miracles, but just anything that you can do, that you can let us know that you're still around. We can acknowledge you a little bit. You're not just a picture on the wall anymore, you're still here. We've got other pieces of equipment with us tonight. We've got a spirit box. Also got motion sensors as well. Oh, you can see your picture in the middle there. As well as lots of other people that are associated with this building. So I've got a spirit box on the table. What this will do, this will scan and sweep through the static white noise on the FM frequency. It's believed by people within the paranormal field that we can use that to try and communicate, give some spirits a platform to be able to project their voice, to be able to pick up on their voice. If you are able to use this to talk to me, you're very welcome to do so. We'll ask some questions. If anybody wants to come through, no matter who you are, anybody that's associated, anybody that's still here that might have a message to pass on, be acknowledged with the world of the living. So I'm going to turn this volume up right now, and then let's ask some questions. So I'm going to start by introducing myself. My name is Rob. You're welcome to come and talk, and I'm going to ask if you can tell me your name. Is Mrs. Mitchell in here? Did you live in Bannockburn House? Did you call this house your home? Can you tell me which time era you're from? What year is it where you are?
Right before this response on the spirit box, a whisper can be heard. I didn't hear this at the time, and it certainly wasn't a noise that I made, otherwise I would have commented at the time.
Am I welcome in your house? It sounded like someone saying the house. A lot of staff who work here say that they've seen apparitions of you. Is there a picture of you anywhere on the wall? By the way, if anyone can make more sense of the voices you can hear, do feel free to post it in the comments. Sometimes it's easier when you hear it through a speaker afterwards than what I can hear, because I'm quite close to the speaker myself. There's a lovely old radio, lovely old wireless in the corner. Mrs. Mitchell, are you there? Was that you saying yeah? Was this your favourite window to look out of? Sometimes it's quite hard to make sense of the words that come through, because I understand a lot of it is radio bleed that comes through. It might be from a radio station that it catches when it sweeps through. I totally understand that. But if there's other ways that we can communicate with you, maybe if that's not a way that we can communicate, I've also got a K2 meter, an EMF meter, whatever you want to refer to it as. Just going to put it down. What you can do, if you put your energy through that, it can pick up on your energy. It picks up on electromagnetic energy. If you can come and touch it with your hand, put your hand through it, really getting windy outside. Try not to touch the vent pod, but you can really hear. In fact, you can see through there the glass looking out over the fields and the trees outside. And of course, this is land that's very historic. We've got battles that have happened not far from here, possibly in the fields not far from where this house is. This is very historic in this area. The Battle of Bannockburn. We're talking very close proximity to this place. People see soldiers. People claim they see soldiers in the house, in the trees around the house. Is anybody from who maybe served in that battle that's part of this land? Maybe you can rattle the shutters. I'm assuming that they make a noise. Yeah. The wind obviously wouldn't do that because there's glass on the other side, so it's not exposed to the wind. Sounds like a little click coming down there. Sounds like a fire extinguisher. Sounds like a little click coming from this corner.
With no K2 activity or anything coming through the geoport, I go upstairs.
This is the blue room. This is where a lot of people downstairs, where we were just before. There's even taps coming from those shutters straight ahead. It could be the wind, but then again, like gaps, no cracks in the glass to cause air to come through and affect these shutters. But this is the room that would have been most commonly associated with a man called Hugh Patterson. He was around in Bannockburn in the 17th century. But a lot of people hear footsteps on this floor here, like that, on the library below. Now, we were in the library just a few minutes ago. If there's anybody up here? Hugh, are you in here? It sounds like there's a window open. Maybe just a gap between... Oh yeah, you can see there's a little gap there. So you can hear there's a road that goes past outside, a main road. You might hear some traffic coming through from that. Is there a Hugh Patterson in here? Hugh, I'm in your room, and a lot of people hear footsteps in here. Or maybe it's not Hugh. Or maybe it's not Hugh. I'm just admiring your house. How do you feel with what it now is? Lots of visitors come here. If I make a noise, like a tap, would you be able to copy it, replicate it? I'm going to use the floor that you've, or somebody has been heard to walk across. Can you try that? Look at this old dress in the corner. People wearing that in the time eras that people would have lived in here, people would have worn dresses like that. It's not coming up very well on infrared, but it's kind of like I would say like a gold with red underneath. There's Hugh there. If I shine the light on it, you can see it. Looking over the room that he's supposed to still be present. Okay, I'm going to use the spirit box. If anybody wants to talk to me in this room, Hugh, is your spirit still here? Hugh Patterson. Look at this ceiling as well. It's kind of like you wake up and the first thing you see is the fine ceiling. That's like a sign of wealth, isn't it? Hugh, am I in your room? Do you like people coming into your house? Maybe you didn't live here. Maybe you're part of the land. Hugh Patterson, how do you feel about people from England coming into your house? Hugh Patterson, how do you feel about people from England coming into your house? Looking in this, there's an old bathroom in here. Can you tell me your name if you're not Hugh? People say they've seen servants, maids. The amount of ghost stories that have come from Bannockburn House is so many. I've even been told by some of the staff who work here, a deer has been seen inside the house. Not in the land, not in the forest or the woods, outside, inside, where obviously animals like that could have been killed for food. Is that some sort of apparition that's still stayed within the place memory of this building? Obviously it won't just be humans, will it? animals that have lived here. How many spirits are there in this room? Are you all from the same time era? Do you know each other? Do you know that you're dead and that we're on the living side? I'll turn that off for a second. See if we can get any noises coming from the staircase outside. People say they see servants, maids in here. Can you make a tap? There's another window. As the wind blows against the side of Bannockburn House. I thought I heard a noise. Did someone just tap? Hugh? I'm going to stay very still so that the floorboards don't creak. Is there anybody with me in here that would like to show their presence, or even just let me know of a presence? That will all, you don't have to do much, just anything. Anything just to validate that you're still around, and we can still respect your space. This is still your area. That's not changed. This is still your room. Maybe you're not physically here anymore, but your memory is still in here. All your emotions that you had in this building, that won't have left. I can't tell if it's the wind. I can't tell if it's the wind. I think it could be the wind blowing on something. Hello? Is there somebody down here? Hello? There's a thud. Hello? Is there somebody down here? Hello? Hello? Just been in here? Somebody making a thud in here? Can you repeat that? Can you do that again? It's so hard to discount the wind. It's really, really windy. I think it could be a wind. Wind's blowing on this door. It's this door. There, you can see it. Look, you can see the wind. I hope that's an outside door.
Whilst it's just an explanation, it's possible that the wind could be causing some doors to bang. However, I didn't hear the door make that noise whilst I was downstairs in the library, and for the rest of the investigation whilst I was upstairs.
If that wasn't the wind, can you do that again? Oh, look. What's the old cliche? Spider in the bath. House spider. Bannockburn House spider. Oh, look at all the dead flies as well. Oh, you've been busy. Look at all them. Hundreds. This is an area of Bannockburn House known as the teachers' quarters, because this is where teachers would have been with their children. Look at all the dead flies on here. You can see loads of dead bugs. Must have flown in and just got trapped. Literally every windowsill you go to, you see them. Is there anybody up here with me? People often see stuff in the corridor. Things have been photographed down here. Children, young children. Is there any children up here? Little tap coming from the room I've just been in. Do you want to come and play? I'm going to make a tap with my foot. Can you copy? I've got a little K2 meter on the floor. Didn't think it was switched on. There it is. You can see there's a little cupboard here, a little doorway leading up. Possibly a place where children were kept. Animals, pets were kept up in this part. You can see where the bare stone of this house. Look at this cupboard in here. Look at all the scratch marks. Is that being caused by animals that have been kept in here? there's a story linked to this place of a dog, a lady that was so adamant that she could see a dog. She was stroking its head, but nobody else could see it. She was adamant it was an Irish wolfhound. Anybody's up here with me? Can you tap or bang on something? More flies. I think that's rain, sideways rain coming into the side of the building. Is there any children that would like to come and play? Obviously, there's a lot of areas in this building where people aren't allowed to go because it's currently being restored. There's a lot of work being carried out on this place. Is there anybody down this corridor? Would you like to show yourself? So I've come round to another part of Bannockburn House. I'll show you where we were a few moments ago. You can see that we've essentially just come to the opposite side of a corridor, which was, we've just made our way from the other side of that into here. This is an area where there's been a young child seen. That's just me rattling things as I've walked past to prove it to you. Yeah, just an old set of drawers there. Again, another area up here. It's in this room where someone did see a little boy, not that long ago actually. So if there's a child spirit still up here. By the way, this door was pulled off its hinges by another paranormal team who have been since banned, I've been told, but just to be careful of it. It's in this room where people have seen a young child, a young boy. There's a little boy in here. I'm going to make a little noise. Can you copy? Do you want to play a game? You have to guess how many, you have to copy how many sounds I make. See if you can copy me. Is this your little play area? The wind has really died off. It was really windy before, unless we've just come onto the other side of the building and we're not hearing it. But it's not as windy. Look at all the flies that have just collected up. I don't think it's paranormal, but a lot of people believe it'll be like an infestation, some kind of demonic sign that there's something in here. A lot of children have been photographed. In fact, one of the best photographs I've been shown was taken from this area, looking down to the other side of that corridor where we were a few moments before, and you could see some sort of figure at the end. They say it's usually like they're popping around around a corner, like as if they're looking to see what you're doing, and then darting back across again. Is anybody down here? Can you make any noise? So I've been told there's a little child in here. Do you want to come and talk to me? My name is Rob. Robert. Whereabouts are you? Can you tell me what year it is? There's a little boy in here. What's your name? There's an adult spirit in here. Is there anybody down the corridor? Are you from Scotland? Do you live locally? Were you from around here? How many people are in here? What if they're original bricks? Oh, fireplace. Are you from Stirling? Bannockburn. Did you die in this house? Is this where your death was, in this house? Are you at peace now? What's it like? Do you watch people from the living come into the house and have a look around? Do you watch people down the corridor? What do you think of what the current people are doing to the house? Do you like it? Bringing tourists in? You've had TV people have come here before. Although you probably won't know what that is. All we're doing is to try and talk to you and prove that there's an existence on the other side. That when we die, we can still have our memories existing. Are you linked to the land? There was a battle on this site, not far from here. Was that where you're from? The battle? People have seen a soldier in this house. Are you that soldier? Can you tell me what happened when you died? What happened to you? Was it peaceful? Are you at peace now? It doesn't hurt now? Do you know Bonnie Prince Charlie? He came to this house. Shall we go to his bedroom? This is quite a special room I'm in. It's said in this room, although it has been questioned by historians, was where a prince stayed. His name was, that's the creaky floorboard, Bonnie Prince Charlie. Very important, probably the most well-known guest that's ever stayed inside Bannockburn House. This is said to be like the bed he used on those days he was visiting. This wall, I've been told, has been added over the years. That's not the original. But it's in this room where a musket fired from outside, before there was a road, before there was street lights out there. Somebody fired a shot into this very room. An assassination attempt on Bonnie Prince Charlie. Is there anybody in here? Can you make a noise? Can you make a tap or a bang? Obviously other people will have stayed here as well as Bonnie Prince Charlie, but obviously when you've got a famous person associated with a building, it's very easy to start ghost stories. This is like the bed he would have slept in. Obviously, I'm not going to jump on it, I'm not going to bounce up and down on it. It's a very, very old bed, even though it's not the original. This is still a very old piece of furniture. And this room is how it would have looked, possibly, when a prince stayed here. One of a very well-known historical figures in Scotland. Any spirits in here? Anybody would like to come forward? Anybody that maybe remembers? I'm not suggesting that Bonnie Prince Charlie's spirit is still in this building. It could be. I don't know why he would come back to a place that when he spent a very small fraction of his life in. It's like when we visited the Mary Queen of Scots house in Jedburgh. She didn't stay there long, less than a month, but she is still very much associated with it. And now we've got the Bonnie Prince Charlie bedroom. Is the prince here? Oh, it's drops coming off the window. It's been raining. I think that's what it is. Is there anybody else in here? Anybody that can remember when the prince was in here? Maybe you were already in the spirit world and you saw him come in here? Was that someone making a tap? I didn't move. I'm going to make a tap with my foot. Can you copy it? It's very creaky up here. It's very creaky. I didn't move there. Something creaked down here, just at the base of that door. That was somebody making a creak. Can you do it again? Will I make another tap? Can you copy me? Just one that time. Over there by the fireplace. By the portrait. That's Bonnie Prince Charlie on the wall. I believe that is him. If that was somebody making a tap, can you do that again? Like, I know what people will say. Yes, this is a very old building. Yes, this is very, it's a night time. The building's been cooling down over the day. There will be little creaks. There will be little floorboards that rattle. The wind has been going all night. It's died down a little bit now, but it was on cue. I'm going to make another tap with my foot. Can you copy the exact pattern that I'm about to do? I'm going to do it again. Can you do that? Maybe a little bit shy. Welcome to the side of the room. Can you make any noise in this room if you're here?
I use GhostTube Seer, an app which uses the environmental sensors on a phone to be able to pick data which is then run through an AI image generator. And yet when I run it, these medals appear. Now at the time I thought absolutely nothing of it, until one of the staff members at the house told me that in the room that was Bonnie Prince Charlie's room, there is a secret safe behind one of the panels, and in that safe are the medals that James Mitchell, who lived here at Bannockburn, had after he was killed as a soldier in World War I. Given that these medals were behind the panels that I was hearing the taps and the knocks coming from, maybe, just maybe, was there someone trying to show me something? What an absolutely amazing location Bannockburn House is. It reminds me of a film set house, somewhere that you would expect Nicole Kidman to star in, a film where a family live in a house that's been haunted by the generations and generations of people that have lived there before, that are still there. I love this place. If you're in the area, come and book a tour because it is fascinating. Stirling is such a beautiful, beautiful place to come and visit. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to the Dead Air YouTube channel because there's lots more videos on there and loads more coming up.